Hey y'all, welcome back to another video. My name's Chad and this is Tabula Rasa Homestead. What you see in front of me is early Christmas gifts. My life partner got me this 12-inch 5-speed WEN lathe, model 3424, and this corresponding stand that goes with it to start doing some woodworking and start creating some things. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go ahead and unbox both of these. We're going to get them set up and we're going to maybe mount something on the lathe and turn something out today. I don't know what we're going to make, but I can guarantee you one thing we're going to make is a mess. Wood chips flying everywhere. Should be a great time. We're going to go ahead and just get into this. Box on the top is the WEN lathe stand, model number 8800. And then in the bottom is model 3424, the 12-inch 5-speed benchtop lathe. Like I said, we're gonna go ahead and get this thing opened up, see what all comes in the box, get it set up. So we're gonna get this stand out of the way for the moment. And we're gonna get into this guy right here. So as we open the box, we're gonna see what all is in here. And the first thing on top is the instruction manual. If you're ever curious of why it is that women live longer than men, it's because of these pieces of paper right here. Most men would throw this. I'm not one of those. This machine here, if you don't know what you're doing and you don't read the instructions and really know what you're doing, this thing can injure you, maim you, and possibly even kill you. Y'all read the instructions. That's what they're there for. We're gonna set these aside for now while we're taking this stuff out, and then I'm gonna definitely go through and read those before we do any work on this thing. Very well packaged, nice styrofoam piece here. And there is the lathe. Now this thing is really heavy. I think it weighs almost 80 pounds. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rip the side of the box open and just kind of stand it out. So after a little bit of wrestling there, I got it out of the box. I'm gonna go ahead and take this plastic off, and there is the lathe itself. All right, so we got the lathe out of the box. It's right here, all these pieces that come with it. I'm just gonna open these. I don't know what some of these are. Oh, this is a little tool holder that I'm sure mounts on here somewhere. We'll get those directions here in a little bit and see where all this stuff goes, but just wanna see what's in the box. So there's a small tool holder. Then there's a drive spur that it comes with for the headstock. And it also comes with a live center for the tailstock. And it looks like some tools to take the faceplate off and, you know, just do things. Y'all, can you hear that hawk? I don't know if you can hear that, but there's there's a breeding pair of hawks that lives up here behind us, and they're out here flying around screaming. I got a whole flock of chickens up here in the yard that I hope they don't come and mess with. I already went outside and kind of ran them off, but I can still hear them out there. Hopefully we don't get any chickens eaten. All right, so we got all the tools out. This push rod here is to go through the backside of the lathe to knock out the spur center if it's stuck in there or whatever's in there. There's a couple Allen wrenches, a wrench for the headstock. Oh, and then this is the crank handle that goes on the backside here, so we'll get that installed too here shortly. But I'm gonna take a break here real quick and I'm gonna read through these instructions and then we'll come back. All right, y'all, I got the directions all read. I'm gonna be honest, there isn't a lot there. Everything that you need to know is there though. I went ahead and installed the tool holder. It just goes right here on this side. I was actually thinking, since I installed that the lathe was gonna have to be turned around so I could have these in front of me, but these are just tools to take off and put on different accessories, not actually to do the work. And the power switch is actually on this side. It is in the right orientation right now. It's a 5-speed system, it's pulley driven. There's 5 different, you have to move a belt from one side to the other to get the specific RPM that you're looking for. And it goes between, put my eyeballs on. So the lowest RPM that it spins at is about 520, and it can go all the way up to 3,400. And I think most of the turning I'm gonna do is gonna be between 520 and 1400. So the bottom 3 speeds is probably what I'm gonna use. There was a faceplate that was mounted here on the headstock that I went ahead and took off. You just need to use a wrench and this little bar piece to pop them loose. So I got that sitting off to the side. My first impressions are it seems to be a pretty good little piece of gear here. So I've used a lathe before, but it's been, I'm about to age myself here, but it's probably been about 30 years since I've stood in front of a lathe, and the one that I used was a full-size lathe. It happened to be in the wood shop class that I was in my freshman year of high school. So kind of, like I said, I just kind of aged myself there, but it is something that I've always been interested in. I just never really had the time to do, and now I'm gonna make time, because I think it's almost a form of meditation, I think, in some ways, just to have wood spinning. And I mean, you have definitely got to pay attention. You definitely got to pay attention to things when you're doing this, because like I said, you can get a hand caught in this thing. It spins really fast. And if you're not careful, it can really mess you up. One thing that I did talk about a lot in the instructions was safety equipment. I do have quite a bit of safety equipment that I went ahead and bought when I was getting ready to make this purchase. It says in there that they recommend a face shield, a dust mask, or a respirator of some sort, and probably gloves and long sleeve. You know, that's up to you. I think, for me personally, I think the face shield and the dust mask are going to be a requirement. There's just going to be stuff flying everywhere, and I'm notorious for, if I'm doing something and something can hit me in the eye, it's going to. That's how it works for me. So I just went ahead and purchased an ANSI approved face shield. And I'm also going to be wearing glasses as well while I'm doing this. One, I can't see very well, and two, it's just a second level of protection. So if a big chunk of something does come off the lathe and it smashes me right in the face with that face shield on, I'll have my glasses just as another buffer. Is it overkill? Probably, but like I said, I don't see very well anyway, so the glasses are going to be a requirement no matter what. Definitely face shield and dust mask though, because the dust that this produces, when you're actually cutting, it's not so much dust, it's more chips than anything. When you're sanding though, you sand off a lot of wood on these things, and that wood dust becomes airborne, and it's really, really not good for your lungs to continuously breathe it in. You guys are actually sitting right in the doorway of the garage there, and that's probably about where I'm going to have the lathe. I think I want it close to that door, just because I don't have a dust collection system. It's something that I will invest in at some point. It's probably going to be a little while, but I can open all the doors in here and turn a fan on and kind of keep the dust out. Shouldn't be that big of a deal. I think the next step is I'm going to move you guys out, and right where you're sitting right now, we're going to go ahead and get this stand set up, get it to the right height so we can have a proper working height for our lathe. The proper working height for a lathe, for it to be comfortable, is right where the spindles are, is supposed to line up with your elbow, just so you can be at a flatter angle and you can work the tools in and out, but it's comfortable so you can stand there and do it. For me, that's about 48 inches total. So with it on the stand, the spindles need to be approximately 48 inches, 46 to 48, somewhere in that region. They'll probably be good for me. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to measure the distance from the spindle to this tabletop, because that will give me the base, so I can tell how deep it is from the spindle to the bottom of the lathe. And then we can when we set up the stand, we can measure it and get it set to the right height, put the lathe right on it, and make a mess in here. So we're going to check that out real quick. So right now, it looks like the center of the spindle is right at 14 inches. So for me, again, 48 inches would be the right height for me. So 48, 38, 34 inches is what we need to, when we put the stand together, that from the ground to the top of the stand, or the mating surface where this sits on, needs to be, what did I say, 30? 48, 34 inches, that's what I said. I'm gonna go ahead and move you guys out a little bit. We're gonna go ahead and unbox this also. So this will be a 2-for-1 unboxing. This is the model 8800 lathe stand. This stand particularly fits it's a universal, so it should fit any lathe or any WEN lathe product. When I was reading the reviews though, they do sell a tailstock extension for these to make the lathe longer. And I may end up getting one of those at some point. It's not going to be anytime soon though, because number one, I'm not turning big things. I'm more interested in bowls and other spindle turned items. But with the lathe extension on here, it doesn't fit on that stand. So that's another reason why I'm not interested in getting it. The max swing on this lathe is 12 inches. And then you can turn up to 18 inches, I think it was. Yeah, 18 inches. Anyway, I'm starting to ramble already. I'm just really excited to have this. This is going to be a really cool tool to have and start making things. I think it's going to be fun. The last video I posted, it's been a couple weeks now, but the last video I posted, you saw we cut down that black walnut tree out there that I called Big Bertha, and I wasn't certain what to do with Big Bertha or all the other black walnut trees I've cut down here. Black walnut's a very highly sought after wood that a lot of people like, but I couldn't find anybody to come buy them. I could find people to come pick them up for free, but I didn't want to just give them away because I know it's a highly sought after wood. That's what gave me this idea to have a machine like this, so I can actually take that wood straight off the tree and with some treatments and things, turn them into something useful, something I could possibly sell, something I can give away for gifts, you know, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I'm gonna back you guys up and we're gonna pull the stand out. All right, let's get this guy opened up and see what's in the box. So one thing I've noticed about WEN and their products so far, since I've opened 2 of their items, is the directions are always right here on the top. First thing you should pull out, and again, not throw away. This thing can kill you, not necessarily this. If this is not put together correctly, that can kill you though. Another reason, like I said before, this is why women live longer than men. Most men will throw this away. I don't do that. I read these, especially when the machine can kill me. Not a good thing. So, got the directions. I'm gonna set those right there, and we're just gonna get all the pieces out, get them laid out, and then we'll start putting it together. All right, we got all the pieces out here, and now I'm just going to, this isn't gonna be a step-by-step how to put together a lathe stand and mount a lathe video. This is just unboxing, show you what's in there. There's all the pieces. There's a bag of hardware here. Looks like I'm gonna have to go open up my toolbox, grab a couple tools out, and we'll get this thing set up. All right, y'all, I had to run to the hardware store. So if you're buying this setup and you're getting the lathe and the stand, at the bottom, underneath the lathe, at the bottom of the lathe, there's these little feet that screw into the bottom of the lathe. So you can set it on a bench. When you go to mount it to the actual lathe stand, these little feet, the threads on these they might bite like 1 or 2 threads. I didn't feel comfortable with that, so I had to run to the hardware store and get a couple bolts. Here's a little bit of advice for you to save you a little bit of time, because I had to go through and do the thread checker and all that stuff. So they're 8mm by 1.25, and then you want to probably get them about 1.5 inches or so long. I think mine are closer to 2 inches, but if they're a little long, it's okay, because there's nothing that gets in the way of them being able to secure all the way down. Got this all put together. Now, I think I'm starting to lose sunlight here. The sun's going down right behind me pretty low, so we'll see what we get accomplished here today. I think I'm just gonna grab a piece of, I think I got a piece of 2x2 that I can cut a short chunk off of, we could put on here just to kind of mess around with and try it out. So I'm gonna go grab that real quick. All right, got this 2x2 in here, and I'm just gonna turn it on and see what happens here. I'm using carbide. I haven't turned in a very long time, so carbide seems to be the way to go for newer turners, which I consider myself to be. So we're just gonna get this going. I got it at 520 RPMs, and we're gonna fire it up and just see what happens. Just turned it up to 900 RPM, see if that does any different. well, I guess that's why I'm messing around here. All right, well, I'll probably just keep turning it and see what happens. All right, y'all, look what I made. Isn't this awesome? All this was today was just to play around with the new lathe and just get comfortable with it, start readjusting, relearning. I had a big blowout right here on that 2x2. I wonder, I don't know. There's a couple of reasons why I could have blown out like that. I'm not exactly certain, you know what I mean? This is my first one, but I think we're gonna hang it up right here. I might come back out tomorrow and try something, a different piece of wood. We'll pick this up again tomorrow. All right, it's been a couple of days since that first turn that I did. I did a little bit of research and reading and figured out kind of some things I was doing wrong. One thing that I know for certain I was doing wrong was I was turning at a speed that was way too slow for the piece that was on here, so it was causing tear out. Plus it was pine, it was a soft wood. It tears out really bad that way too. So I got a piece of black walnut here. This is from, if you look at our last video that I posted, this is from Big Bertha that we cut down out here in front of the house. And this is one of the pieces of wood that gave me the idea of getting a lathe like this. So I'm just going to work on this one for a little bit today. The goal today is to maybe get this turned down into a cylinder. I possibly might make something out of it. We'll see how everything's going. This is a very, very green wood. It's probably only been down for about 3 weeks. And when I cut these pieces off, it was right after I cut the tree down and they were sitting in the yard the whole time. So this side I did a flat cut on to level it out. This other side is still the original cut. It's got a little bit of cracking in the pith, but for what we're trying to accomplish here today, this shouldn't be a problem. So we're going to turn this and just see if we can turn it into something. We're going at, let me see. Yeah. So this is a approximately 6-inch diameter piece of wood here, so we're turning it about 1,400 RPMs. Oh man, so I can already tell a huge difference in the way it feels when I'm cutting, the way it looks, everything. This is really wet. It's almost like a sponge. It's really weird that it's such a wet piece of wood, but I can feel the difference with the way the tools are cutting, the speed, everything. So this is making me happy. I'm gonna move the rest over here just a little bit and clean up this side here. Wow, man, that is night and day difference from what I was doing yesterday. Night and day. think it's going to turn into a carver's mallet. This is pretty fun. Got a little bit of tear out right there that I'm gonna have to fix. All right, y'all, that was fun playing around. I know the video cut out a little early, but here's what I ended up with. It's just call it a carver's mallet. It's pretty clean around it out. All I did was I went in with my carbide bits or my carbide tools and just kind of shaped it, went nice and slow. So a lot of the problems I had yesterday is I was turning a lot slower than I should have been. So the wood didn't have enough speed to actually cut. It was more tearing, and then the tool rest was too low, so I was coming in at too low of an angle. I needed to get more up on top to do more of a shaving cut, which is what I accomplished today. And using a hardwood really made a huge difference than using that softwood like that pine. I don't know how dry that pine was, or could have been overly dry, and that's why it tears out real easy or splinters or explodes. But look at this. I mean, this came out beautiful. You know, I still got some work to do on the ends and stuff. You know, again, this is the second piece I've put on this lathe and the very first piece of anything that I've made that's going to be functional in my shop here. I'm going to use this mallet. I'm sure it's probably going to warp, get misshapen, things like that over time because it's very wet wood. It's still, I mean, you can almost physically feel it's cooler than the air temperature out here, and it's heavy. Like, you could tell that there's definitely moisture in here. But first thing I made, pretty fun. So probably gonna be making a handful more videos like this. I know my subscribers follow me for homesteading stuff, and we're definitely gonna do videos of homesteading stuff, but this is gonna be one of my primary things that I'm working on over the winter time. It just helps pass time. I can make useful things like this, make things similar to this that I can sell at the market and stuff for another kind of income here at the homestead. So you know, if you like homesteading stuff or wood turning or woodworking, I'm slowly building a wood shop here. It's probably going to be a while since I got this. It's probably going to be a while until I buy any other larger tools, but there's definitely going to be more tools happening here. So why don't you go ahead and give us a subscribe, give us a like on the video, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.